You have one unheard message.
Hi, I was calling Current, the influencer marketing platform, but I think I just got redirected to a bunch of people listening to a podcast. Well, anyways, I was calling Current because I was told they could help get my brand set up on TikTok Shop, and even build out an affiliate program of content creators promoting my brand, and even have those content creators go on live streams and promote my product there. Wow, I could really use Current. I also heard that the brands they work with are making millions in sales. I guess I'll just go to their website at current.tech.
You deserve a tech career you love, coworkers you can count on, innovation you're proud to build. If you're ready to change the world through technology, explore a career at Cox. Make a real impact in engineering, development, cybersecurity, and more, all while experiencing work-life balance, flexible work options, and great benefits. Visit cox.career/tech to find a job you love today. That's cox.career/tech.
No music, no intro. I mean, I don't even know what this episode is going to be, honestly. I hit Ryan up and I just said, "Hey, man, you just want to chat and put it on wax." I texted Ryan earlier talking about just how defeated and defeating this year's been. Just everything, man. Coronavirus, the idiot who's in charge of the presidency, police brutality, terrorism, and a vigilante taking matters into his own fucking hands, doing riots, the fires in California. You have Hurricane Laura hitting southeast Louisiana like 1 a.m. tonight. It's exhausting, man.
I'm telling you, man.
It's exhausting.
It's crazy, and I always go back. I always wonder, like, okay, is it just that we are being inundated with analysis and news since 21st century we have Twitter and 24-hour news and internet news, and I just wonder if is it that, or is like this year special? But bro, this year ain't no joke. this year, this 2020 ain't no whole dog. Like 2020 a trip.
A whole bitch out here, bro. Like I mean,
first of all, you're talking about a pandemic, which is
something that like you tweeted. Your parents haven't experienced a pandemic. My grandma who raised me, she's 76 years old. She's never experienced a pandemic. Like,
right.
Bruh.
And that's just by itself. Like, if you just had COVID-19 pandemic, boom, like that's crazy.
That's enough for 1 year.
Then you just layer everything on top of that, bro. Like, this, and I do wonder if they kind of mix together the, obviously the police brutality, Black Lives, something that's been going on a long time, long before I was even existing. But the anger and the frustration kind of coming to a head. I wonder if that has anything to do with being locked down so long, the pandemic, what it does to your mental, and just everything that's going on, Trump, all this stuff. I wonder if all that just kind of feeds into the anger that causes, riots and looting and, protesting every night and all that stuff, where people just like fed up, man. Like
fed up,
NBA,
man.
like the NBA, we had the NBA get canceled because of the pandemic. Figured out a way to keep it going. Months later, this whole bubble thing, and it was running about as smooth as any sports team.
Smooth, bruh.
Smooth. Made it through the finals, and the Milwaukee Bucks said, you know what? After the killing of Jacob Blake, We done. We don't even feel like playing no more. And I respect it 100%. Like I respect it. You know, if they want to shut the league down, shut it down. You
Shut
know
it
what I'm
down,
saying?
man.
But
Like,
it's like I respect it 100%. But it's just like wow, like that's kind of crazy. But we kind of looking at it like damn, that's crazy. But like that's crazy.
it's unprecedented, and
Unprecedented. Thank you. Exact word.
it, I'm 32, and even though like I don't like some days I feel older than that, some days I feel younger than that. I've seen a lot, in my life. I know you've seen a lot in your life, but there's never been anything like this. Like and I just hope, and I'm trying not to be pessimistic when I say this. I just hope that there's actual change, like on some type of level, like there's actual change. Um, and it was just reported, Woj and Shams and everyone who covers the NBA just reported that after, they had their NBA meeting with the players and all that just ended just recently, like a couple of minutes ago. The Lakers and the Clippers were the ones who voted or, was saying like we should just boycott the entire season. Like
Mm.
the fact that LeBron James, who, everyone says, he only has 3 championships,
Yeah.
blah, 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 legacy bullshit talk. You know how it goes. And the fact that the Lakers were 1 game away from going to the next round of the playoffs. And he's like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, because at the end of the day, like, what does it, like, that's just powerful. It is
Yeah.
powerful. And that's where things are right now. Because what as black men, as black people in this country, like what more can we do until we're noticed and our voices are heard and we're not being muted and silenced. And my girlfriend brought up a great point today. She texted me, she was like, the Packers been mighty silent
Yeah.
about things. I don't know, man. It's insane. Everything that's going
I
on.
will say that they did put out a statement yesterday, the Packers, but I mean, you know how that goes. I mean, like I told Patrick when he was on, that's become an industry.
Oh,
Like
bruh.
I'm telling you, you go to college. You want to make some money? Go to college. Take a few classes on intersectionality, on diversity, inclusion, and you know, I mean, whatever you want to call it. Just take those classes and try to get understanding. Read some of the books on it, plenty of books, and come up with a little course and sell yourself to these Fortune 500 companies, saying you can teach them about this and you can write marketing plans to help you with diversity and inclusion and you can make a ton of money doing that these days. It's become an industry in itself. If you could write a PR statement that's going to come out nice and fluffy, about how you're dealing with, you respect the racial injustice, and you are ready to fight racial injustice in America. If you can write a statement like that for a company, man, they'll pay you money, man. I'm telling you.
We had a couple of months ago, which is crazy to think that, not crazy because we're in America, but it's more sad is a better word to think about. We were just talking about this a couple of months ago. And the term and the phrase that you came up with was woke. Was it woke capitalism?
Yeah.
And I feel like these companies are like, God dang, like again, Negroes? Like we gotta like I mean I shouldn't laugh at that, but like
it's funny though. It is funny. I mean,
because like I know that's what they're thinking. Like, let's be real. Like
right.
they're just like, oh, didn't we just appease you guys like a couple of months ago or like the George Floyd thing? And like that's the thing that they don't get is like a statement and Call of Duty changing like their shit and putting it black. Like none of like that. What does that doesn't matter.
It doesn't mean anything. You open up Amazon Prime, I want to watch a movie, all black screen, Black Lives Matter. We stand with you. It's like I don't need Amazon to stand.
Come on, man, Jeff. If you don't stop, Jeff, come on,
Like
Jeff.
Jeff, chill. Just keep slinging them. Keep slinging them packages on time, brother. And why don't you hire some brothers that kind of look like me, brothers and sisters, into roles of power and status. But other than that, man,
can't even be mad at Jeff.
From their perspective,
right?
From their perspective, I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If they don't say anything, you might get a couple thousand people, hey, attacking them on Twitter or social media or whatever, saying, hey, well, what are your thoughts on this? Why haven't you released a statement? So it becomes one of those things where one company releases a statement and another company's like, oh, geez, our competitor released a statement, so we got to too. And then blah, 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 and then over and over and over, So honestly, it just doesn't matter to me because what they do it just doesn't concern me at all. We know where change comes from, and it's not from corporate America. You know what I'm saying?
No. It's one of the most telling things, that I have never been the type to read comments a lot, whether it's on, any type of comments, online comments to stuff that are posted.
I love it.
I can't. But one of the most, and I saw it briefly today, one of the most telling things, and this is why I get pessimistic of just things are not going to change, comes out like the Bucks are boycotting. And then the 5 responses on Twitter after that post is the most exactly missing the point. It's usually, I mean, if I gotta be real, it's usually someone that's non-black who doesn't know anything about the oppression that we've experienced, and it's like, oh well, I stand for their cause, but this isn't the way to do it. Who the fuck has
Who are you? Who are you?
Please.
And what really annoys me is the ones that say oh, poor wealthy black players, poor guys, just because they've succeeded in life, they shouldn't, risk their wealth and fame and status to fight for people that don't have that.
Right.
If anything, that's commendable. We commend that.
100%.
Because we know there are plenty that don't do that. They don't, miss game checks, or I don't know if NBA players are going to miss game checks, but I'm just saying, they are putting their status on the line. Colin Kaepernick, let's not even get on that. Bro. You know what I'm saying? We talking about a dude who,
4 years ago today, or 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And even I even remember when the whole cap thing happened, and there are people at the NFL Network that refused to believe he was being blackballed. They just they couldn't imagine it. And to me and you, we were like,
huh? Hello.
What?
It's come on, man. Come on, man. But we just, I don't know, man. I guess, just with our experience, we see one thing that has been so apparent to me is how people see things through their own prism. You know what I'm saying?
Speak on it.
I posted earlier. I didn't post earlier, but I mean, if you go find a video of Jacob Blake getting shot in the back by the police, and then look at the comments, it's like people see they look at the same video and come away with 2 completely polarizing opinions. You know what I'm saying? One person could look at it and say, wow, the unarmed guy shot in the back, 7 times. He didn't even deserve that. And somebody could look, I mean, obviously he deserved that. I mean, he was threatening the lives of the officers. It's we're looking at the same thing.
It's that's a perfect analogy because, anyone who knows enough about me or whatever knows what my career, my profession is, being a social worker. And that's something that I deal with as a social worker of there's a situation that's going on in this family, and me as social, I have my assessment and what I feel is the right thing to do for the safety of the child, whether that's removing the kid from out of that situation, whatever it is, right? And then another social worker, you know, with their assessment skills, sees the situation completely different. And it's like, oh no, I think we should leave this kid with the parent, with the mom or with the dad because of XYZ. And I'm like, are we not looking at the same picture? Like, I'm trying to keep the kid safe in an environment where nothing's going to happen to them. And then, you know, I provide like, and it's even more, it's not just a video. Like, there's like, this family has a history of ABCD, completely different. Other social worker sees it completely different. And it's, so that's a perfect analogy because I deal with it literally not every day, but I deal with it a lot in my profession. And that's where that, it's, the question becomes how it, I guess the real question is, can that disconnect ever be fixed? And the pessimist in me says like it can't. Like it's hard to take someone who is so hardwired one way in their and how they think and how they have been brought up and raised and whatever it is, to get them to think a different way. Like, you know, as an adult, as adults, like we are set in our ways, largely, and we are who we are. I'm not saying that we can't change, but it's a hard thing to get a person to change.
In large part, people think what they're going to think, and not much you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is, and I am pessimistic, man. I'm sorry. Like, I wish I could be like hopeful and all that stuff. And you know, like long term, I am kind of hopeful. Like, I think eventually things work out. You know, I think humanity kind of figures out a way, you know, to keep existing. I think, you know, I'm not 100% on that.
Hit you with the Dr. Malcolm, life finds a way.
Life finds a way. I really do think that, you know, but well, I mean, I feel like, man, what we at now is like a nexus point or something. It's like, I don't know if everything is converging or
yeah, man, that's
something,
hard.
man. It's just like, I just feel like people keep saying 2020, but it's like, no, it's not like on January 1st, 2021, things just gonna be like cool. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got to figure this out. We got to figure this thing out. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I'm a student of history, bro. Like,
right.
I love history. I read it, not just politics, but like pretty much anything. And when you just look at, like, I know some people don't want to hear this, like, they're like, you know, about the riots and the looting and all that stuff. Because look, trust me, I understand it. Like, I get it. I understand the rage. I get it. But my fear is just like in 67, 68, when you had a lot of riots, you had a lot of, you know, 68 was crazy. King got killed. You had the Vietnam War at full rage, the Tet Offensive. Robert Kennedy gets killed. Rise of the Black Panthers. I mean, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And what the Republicans did back then, 67, 68, there was an uptick in crime. There was an uptick in violence. They had the riots all over the country. They had an uptick in drug use, like heroin and marijuana, you know, the whole hippie movement and all that stuff. And they conjoined the two and made it seem like those two were connected and tried to sell that to their base, the Republican base, as a driving force of why you should elect Nixon. You know, you should elect Nixon because, you know, we're gonna be tough on crime. We're gonna stop all this. We're gonna law and order. We're gonna bring law and order back to America and all that stuff. And my fear is all this stuff that's going on in, you know, Kenosha, Wisconsin, and Seattle, all over in Maryland, Portland, all over the country, Chicago. I mean, it's been everywhere. My fear is you got all these people that's sitting at home watching, watching what's going on, these suburban women, as Trump likes to call them, and they're watching this and they don't want that. They don't want that in their little pretty community, and they are going to show out in droves, and it's not showing up in the polls. These are not the people that's going to answer questions over the phone about who you're going to vote for. My fear is they're going to come out in droves in November and make a statement. You know what I'm saying? Make a statement and completely reject, what's happened the past couple of months. And that's going to be unfortunate because if you give him another 4 years with like a rubber stamp, I don't know how that's going to play out. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody can predict that.
Shambles.
And what comes from that, like, just look at how this whole election is supposed to go. Like with the mail-in, you got the pandemic going on. People can't be around each other. You got the mail-in voting, which is he's trying to scuttle, and we don't know how this is going to play out. Man,
literally committing voter fraud, like it's nothing.
Voter fraud, bro. And you're gonna have like election week. It's not gonna be election day. It's gonna be election week, and Biden's gonna be saying he won, and Trump is gonna be saying he won, and they're gonna be counting votes in Florida and Ohio and Wisconsin, and man, and it's gonna be like I don't even know what to predict, man. But like the country gonna be on fire, bro. On fire.
It's so. I'm a little too young to get the significance of it, like when it was happening in the moment. I for sure got it more watching the People versus OJ, but that moment and that tension when before like that verdict was read, like you say that, and I'm imagining just the country being on edge for like a week.
Yeah,
just in a frenzy is like the best way I can describe it.
Exactly.
That is not gonna look. It's not gonna look pretty. It's not
gonna look pretty. It's not gonna look pretty, man. Like, and what the outcome of that? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I see everybody throwing around like, oh, is there gonna be a civil war? Or, some people are more optimistic. Like, hey, this is gonna be the catalyst towards change. Or, I don't know, man. Like, all those things can be true. I think the road, wherever it's gonna, whatever the road is to get there, man, it's gonna be a bumpy road, man. Like it's gonna be nasty, man. Like I'm not looking forward to that. I ain't looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to election day. Whatever even if you get Biden, man, it's gonna. Whew, like it's just that page is not going to turn to the next chapter easily, man. Like,
no,
it's going to be crazy.
No, it's not.
And then we talk about Biden. Like it's not like somebody's going to come in and change, change the world, but just like Biden, you know what I'm saying? And oh my God.
It's Joe, man. Let Joe be Joe.
Like if Trump was actually a good president, like he would just like call up all the networks and say, look, I'm gonna give a speech at this time and block up all the channels. And he can't do it because we know who he is, but like a real president would just try to calm the situation around the country and assure everybody, look, I know you've been through a pandemic. I know people have been locked in their houses. I know you've been, I know black people, I know you've been going through this, through that. We need to figure this out. Let's work together. Blah, 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 something. You know what I'm saying? But we don't get none of that, man. Like he can't even, and he can't, even if he tried to do that, now he can't because we know who he is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he don't even operate like that.
It's completely empty words, empty sentiment. Like there's nothing behind it. Like don't try to appease us. Like we know.
Yeah, we know you're full of shit.
We know what it is.
Right.
And I know that both both of us. You for sure more because of just my account typically being locked. So we have a lot of people on Twitter, non-black,
Yeah.
who consider themselves like allies, for Black Lives Matters and our voices matter, Black Lives Mattering and everything. And I feel like if you're listening to the podcast and you're like, well, shit, like I'm white, and I don't really know like what to do to help. Just the biggest thing the biggest step, honestly, is just shutting the fuck up and just listen. Like that's it. Like don't listen with just like, oh, I'm listening to like, okay, I hear what they're saying. Like really fucking listen to what we say and what we've been through and our experiences. Perfect example. I pick up my daughter from her mom's. I get on the freeway out here, 405. As soon as I get on the freeway, LAPD SUV gets behind me. Today, driving home today. And I'm like, all right, try not to freak out. Got my seatbelt on. She has her seatbelt on. I got my fucking license. I have my registration. I'm good. In my head, I'm good. And then, woo woo, fucking lights go on behind me, and the very idea and thought that I could be pulled over and my daughter being in my back seat and like my life legitimately flashes beyond like before my eyes. No hyperbole. Like that is not exaggeration. Like that's real life. Like that is the shit that we experience. Now they like went around me and went on their way, but just that paralyzing fear is a real thing that we experience. Like this is not like this is our lot. This is what we deal with on a daily basis. So like the biggest thing that you can do to be an ally, truly the first thing is just shut the fuck up and listen. After that, if you know people in your life and in your lives who, are racist or whatever, if they're old and in their ways, you're not gonna change their mind. They're adults, like we said. Like it's gonna be very difficult for you to try to change them to be progressive. But what you can do is not associate yourself with those type of people anymore. Like
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's not. I feel like what I'm saying is not. It's not. I'm gonna say it's not hard, but it's easy for me to say. But I also know that those could be people that are close to them. Those could be family members. Those could be close family members. But it's if you want to be a true ally, it's gonna take some steps. It's not fucking tweeting out Black Lives Matter or whatever. Let your voice be heard.
It's cultural pressure. You know what I'm saying? It's pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like it's shame. It's okay to shame. If you got family members that are racist and you know they're racist, shame them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like shame them. Ain't no, oh, that's just my crazy uncle. No,
nope.
No, it ain't. It ain't cool. It's not cool. It's not all right. It's not all right because maybe that's just your uncle, but you get 20 million of them or 40 million of your crazy uncles. That's they perpetuate a system that has existed long before me and you existed. You know what I'm saying? It perpetuates over and over and over. And I just want the allies you're talking about, the white good old white folk that we love. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? Like you can look at everybody. I get a tweet every couple of days. Like, you know this guy? Do you know that this guy's following you? You know what I'm saying? Like, my mentions be toxic. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I kind of like it like that because I like to know what's going on. I don't want to a certain extent, I don't want to live in the echo chamber. So I just like I don't know. I just like hearing different point of views, and some of them are stupid. If it's stupid, I usually block. But if it's like kind of intelligent but wrong, I at least want to hear it so I could figure out ways to respond. So I hear so I could use my empathy and put myself in other people's shoes to figure out where they're coming from, so I could target them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, you got the people out there that's like, oh my God, like maybe it's this, maybe it's just black on black crime, or the statistics show like that bitch Abby, who, I'm sorry to use the B word, but like literally talking about her mixed race son,
Ah,
and how it's okay that he gets treated differently by the police. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just I can't even imagine a mother thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's going to prepare her son to get treated by the police, but not only that, that it's okay for that to happen. You should expect that to happen because of statistics. The stats say that it's right. Like, that the police are just doing a good job. Like, no.
shout out to
We,
my dude Scott Wright, who reached out to me yesterday. He texted me, he sends me this, and he was like, please, like, say like there's something that CPS can do in a situation like this. And I was like,
for real, bro.
nah, bro, like there isn't. Like,
That's sick, man.
which is super sad in itself. Now,
Right.
if I'm putting my social worker hat on, I could probably say that her mixed son probably experiences some type of intense emotional abuse in that household
Absolutely.
that will probably never be reported. But whatever.
And I can't even imagine the identity issues
Oh my goodness.
he's
Yeah.
gonna have growing up. You know what I'm saying? But like, look, that's we can't deal with that. You know. But like, I just want people to like do your research, man. Like, go look into the history of policing in America. It's not like the police have existed for 1,000 years. Like, the police is like law enforcement, police, whatever you want to call it. That's like a new creation. Like mid 1800s. I mean, it comes from slave catchers, and the lawmen is what they used to call them. And look at the history of what they used to do. Look at where they come from. Look into the drug war, where the drug war started. Look into people like Anslinger. Harry Anslinger. He was one of the, before the DEA existed, he was like one of the like main people in government that pushed the creation of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. And look at what he did, and the propaganda he pushed out into forming that organization, and how he pushed the drug war, and how it focused on Black America, even though drugs were being used by everybody. It was a extension of racism and racist enforcement. Look into the Nixon years, his creation of the war on drugs, the '68 crime bill came out in 1968, which I talked about earlier. Look into how that was used and targeted towards Black America. Like, even if you don't think, like, okay, there are no laws on the books that are targeting Black people or nothing like that. Even if you don't think that, look at how that system has been used. Put your feet in the shoes of a policeman, and your job is to rack up felony arrests, and that's your job. Like, that's like your statistic. These guys meet. The leadership of the police meet every week or two, and they go over stats. How many felony arrests has your district had? How many? What's the crime looking in your area? I mean, if you're a policeman, where are you going to focus your effort at? Is it going to be like a white suburb, with wealthy people that vote and have loud voices and are part of the community and can afford lawyers? No, you're going to go to an area where people can be victimized to where people can't afford lawyers, they can't afford bail, they can't afford, a livelihood that meets the criteria of the government, like having permits and, all these little things, all these thousands of laws that they have on the books, that make it hard for people to make money. Yeah, you're gonna be the police. If you're a police, you're gonna be in the hood because okay, I see this car with three dudes in it with dreadlocks. One of them gonna have some weed on him. Okay, he got weed. Okay, one of them got a gun. Now you got gun and weed. You know what I'm saying? That's a felony charge. That's all I need. Boom, put that down. My day done for the
Done.
day. As a policeman, like I don't even care what happens to these guys after the fact. Like the paperwork is in, the report is done. I got a felony charge. My stats are looking good. Meanwhile, you don't know those guys. That you might have just ruined those guys' lives. That man has a son. That man might not be able to go to college now. That man might not be able to get a job now because he has a felony charge on his record. And it reverberates throughout society. And so even if you're one of those people that's kind of been on the fence and you're like, oh, Black Lives Matter, I don't really get it. Like if you hear all these black people saying this, there has to be something there, like something. Even if maybe we might be over exaggerating here or there, or maybe we see racism somewhere where it might not. Maybe not. I don't know. But there is something there, man. And for us to coexist, peacefully, which ain't happening now, something got to change. And it's not going to happen by, just putting your head up in the sky and act like it doesn't exist, or just flooding the hood with cops and thinking you could just beat people down. Because when you do that, that's when you get a revolution. That's when you get buildings burning down and riots in the street and all that stuff. So it's just crazy, man. I don't know.
We both watched the first two episodes of Lovecraft Country. We're both on the fence about it in terms of what we think about it, but something that stood out to me when I was watching the pilot was when there's a scene when they're passing through a town that's called a sundown town, which basically means if you're black and you're driving, if you're driving in a town and the sun's down, law enforcement literally has a right to pull you over and lynch you or whatever. And that the period of when that show is supposed to represent, all I could think about is like it's 2020. Yeah. There's still some places in Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana that there's still that same type of shit. Like I know I gotta get through this town before it gets too late.
Exactly.
2020, and there's still places like that in this country.
Because it wasn't that long ago, man. Like when you think about it, like the Green Book and all that was being released still in the 1960s. So black people knew how to get around the country to avoid sundown towns. Like think about that. You have to avoid a town because if it gets dark, you can literally be killed legally. Like you can legally be killed, by law enforcement. And this is baked into the mindset of black people in America. Like these are our fathers and grandfathers and great grandfathers. So I don't know, man.
This is wild. All right, so anyone who listened to this episode, sorry. I'm not going to apologize, but I do feel like we'll do a super quick recap of Saint stuff to kind of cleanse the palate. We didn't get into this with Kat, but can I just say something about like I'm so annoyed with Pete, bruh.
Who?
Pete.
Oh, Pete.
So sick of him.
I forgot all about it.
just sick of him, Ryan. like if you think about it, when I came up with the idea of starting the Saints Talk podcast with Nick, and we did it. It was the year that they drafted Pete. And I was disappointed that they drafted him because I was like, man, I really wanted Devontae Parker. That was my guy. And they didn't take Devontae. They took Pete. And, I was like, okay, whatever. And there's just been one thing after another. The injuries, the inconsistent play. When he's healthy and he's playing well, he's a above average guard and he's good. But I don't know where that player's been in about 2.5 years.
Been about 2.5, man.
And then, all right, he's a free agent. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna cleanse, we're gonna have a New Orleans funeral, right? Just get a celebration because Pete's no longer gonna be on the O-line, bruh. These dudes bring him back at a contract that was just stomach turning. Man breaks his thumb. I'm sick of him, Ryan. I'm sick of him.
A thumb.
With him, it's always something.
It's always something, man.
That
and then he got the nerve to come back all slim and trim.
Pete, he's looked considerably slimmer. Okay, cool. Well,
man, you don't sit your ass down somewhere, man.
Oh, that picture, I forgot who posted it, of him running to like with Raising Cane's in the back. Bruh. Almost made that my header for Twitter, bruh.
He was going to get that chicken box with the lemonade, boy.
No slaw, though. No slaw.
No slaw. Y'all need the bread. That Texas toast, man.
So the consistent theme, even after talking with Kat, and shout out to Kat, man. She came on here. That was
killed it,
man. Just
killed it.
Great combo. But the defense has been in the offense's ass all camp, bro.
Offense been cheeks, bro. Offense been cheeks, man.
And I don't I don't worry about old me would be like, oh shit, are they gonna get it together? Are they gonna
At what point will you worry about it?
I mean, season starts in 2 weeks, Ryan.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's not like, they get a preseason game to get shit going and in motion and, all that.
But if you remember, we deal with this every year.
Every year.
If you remember the beginning of the camp, offense looking kind of trash. The first 2 preseason games are usually horrible. Usually the whole team looks horrible in the first 2 preseason games. And then the third preseason game, usually Drew gets 2 or 3 snaps. And, the offense looks decent. You get the starters out there. And then, and then boom, boom, come week 1, we kind of all right. We were ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? But with no preseason, I'm just not sure. I still say I have no idea what we're going to see on week 1. No idea.
And part of it is now let me say this. On paper, probably not even probably the most talented defense Sean Payton's ever had. I think easily. So I think part of that is that there's just a lot of dogs and good ass players on defense.
Mm-hmm.
But is part of that too, I mean, the defense knows the offense. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know how you really evaluate it, man.
Right. It is what it is, but it's been a consistent trend all through training camp. All throughout training camp.
But they have taken it light, like Ramczyk, he's had off days. Armstead has off days. Drew has had 2 off days where he's not practicing. Pete's been out. So, and then they're shuffling, Cesar Ruiz and Eric McCoy over and over, trying to figure out where they land. So I just think this is kind of going to be it for the rest of camp, where they're just trying to find a groove on offense. I think the scrimmages, when they do those live scrimmages, will tell us a little more. It's going to be interesting to see how those play out. They're going to do it in the Superdome, and it's kind of going to try to map it out like a game. So I mean, we'll see how those go. But yeah, but like I said, I mean, it's a veteran offense, man. It's Sean Payton, same coaches. They know how to coach well. So it might be a little bumpy in the beginning. Even if, week 1, week 2, maybe the offense doesn't come out. Maybe they don't come out on fire. And we've seen that in the past before. So, I just wouldn't go overboard with it as far as like thinking like, okay, the offense is going to be trash the rest of the year. Like, no, but just prepare yourself. Maybe the offense doesn't come out flying high in the first couple of weeks of the season.
Maybe some growing pains. Maybe that's the best way to describe it.
Right. Well, it might look good here and there, but then maybe the blocking ain't right, or maybe some guys aren't catching the ball as well.
But
who knows, man?
Here's the important thing that especially with Pete, more so with Pete missing time, the whole offensive line, it's all about communication and consistent having routine, like shuffling different linemen in, like that throws off offensive line chemistry like hugely. So we don't know by when they play the Bucks, is it going to be Nick Easton at left guard or is it going to be Pete? Like, I don't know, because technically Pete really hasn't. I mean, yes, he looks slimmer, but like he hasn't had like a full training camp. So
not yet, no.
Are you going to put him out at left guard and he's going to be against Vita Bea and Sue week 1?
Ooh. Boy.
I'm just saying, like, that's where, or do you give him like a week to get acclimated and put him out there week 2? I don't know when they play. I think that's when they play the Raiders. I don't know. So that's interesting to see. And, I'll say this. We know how, we've talked about this before. We know what we thought of Zach Bond as a prospect, but it sounded like he was coming on, like in training camp and grasping things. And they have as Sean Payton would say, they have a vision for him of how they want to use him in the defense. And then, of course, he like pulls something, whatever, trying to chase him. And it's just like, no, we don't even know if it's serious. It probably isn't. It just, the coaches seem to be very cautious with players, which just makes sense. But he's been one of the, like, in terms of like players I'm excited or am excited to see when football's actually played. He's one of the players that, like, man, like I could see like him, like it wouldn't shock me to see him have like a splash play once or twice a game where he can completely,
And he's just an impressive looking dude. Like, you just look at him like big and, he's moving. I don't know. When you see him on the field, it's like, damn, like, the Saints got it like a ferocious looking defense. You remember how like the 49ers used to look with Patrick Willis and
Navarro Bowman, Justin Smith.
Like Justin Smith, it just looked ferocious. You know what I'm saying?
They got off the bus and you're like, oh.
You got off the bus like, okay, this is a defense. And the Saints are starting to look like that, man. You're like, you got, all your DNs are 280 plus, Marcus Davenport or Big Creek Grandison, he like 273 or something like 278. You got Big Cam, you got my dude Rankins. I don't know if it's true, but man, they say my dude moving well, you know what I'm saying? Like,
come on now.
Big Rank moving, I mean, that's a good look at what's the most consistent thing we've heard throughout camp has been the coverage. Like,
yeah, man,
they've been shutting it down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
in the Saints, it offensively is a very hard team to match in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they're able to, I'm just saying, man, like everything's right in front of them. And it's funny too, because I tweeted this. It's the juxtaposition of like the NBA playoffs potentially just stopping and being canceled, and the NFL is like, well, oh well. Negroes, we playing football. Like
We playing some football. You know, I mean, NFL players just don't have it like that, man. Like NBA players got it good, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the money
Sure.
they make, guarantees and all that stuff, they take care of each other. The NFL, shit, man. You think a player making 800,000 gonna give a shit about? Man, hell no.
No.
To play these games.
And preseasons always got canceled, so they don't get preseason
Right.
checks. Man,
Oh,
listen.
hell no. And you gotta understand, man, them dudes live in fear, man. Like the NFL players live in fear. You know what I'm saying? Constant fear. The NBA is just not like that. You know what I'm saying? I must say the NBA is definitely a player-driven league.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Anything, and I tweeted this to you. You brought up Rankins, man. And I said if he is 80, if he can give you 80% of how he was in 2018, he transforms the defense to an elite defense. Because
Exactly.
as it was I was not a Rankins fan coming out of Louisville.
Yeah.
Just I was not. I didn't see it. I was more of a Chris Jones guy. Whoops.
Yeah. I was a big Chris Jones guy too, man.
But and it took him a while, but that 2018 season, he wasn't as good as Geno Atkins, but like he had a very Geno Atkins light season where he was in stretches dominant.
Right.
If they're getting anything, if he's that guy consistently and can show that, like I really think, and I don't want to say he's the linchpin, but he's a wild card. Like he's the true wild card of the defense, in my opinion.
Right. Like Nick Underhill called him a tipping point player, where it's like, okay, tips that scale to the point like, okay, the defense is really good, but if he is 2018 rankings, now you're talking about a potentially dominant defense. You know, because if Marcus Davenport realizes his potential, Cam stays doing what he's doing, the rotation is ridiculous. You got Malcolm Brown, Shy Tuttle, you got Granderson, you got so many guys that can come in. Onyemata. So I mean, that's like a ferocious, nasty defense. Not to mention you got a secondary that can cover for 2.5 seconds, which increases your chances of pressure on the quarterback. So, and you got a linebacker core that's, fat. We finally got a linebacker core that's athletic, fast, can move. You know what I'm saying? Like, we finally got it. We got it. After all those years of wishing, we got it, man.
Get emotional just thinking about it. Because we went through some times, bruh.
And
I remember when we was excited about Jolon Dunbar having a decent season, bruh. Like,
I was mad when they got rid of Dunbar. Like, come on, man.
Man, I still remember.
He had a PFF rating of 79.
I still remember the time they were playing the Titans, and he made a play on Jake Locker when they were driving to score a touchdown.
Yeah. That's 2011.
Yes. Was that 2011?
That was 2011.
Was it really? Man, that feels like.
Was that the game? Colston caught 2 touchdowns.
All I remember is basically Jolon Dunbar made a play on Jake Locker that basically won the game for the Saints. Like he was scrambling and like
he was scrambling at the end. Yep.
Yes. That we've been through it, bro.
Man.
Curtis, Slow Lofton, like what was it?
Oh man.
Signed from the Seahawks, David.
Hawthorne. I was excited. I'm just pulling out PFF stats like, man, he has a coverage rating of 89.3.
We've been through it, bro. So we deserve having linebackers that can actually move sideline to sideline on the football field.
Right. That's all I ask.
Anything before we start wrapping things up? Anything from training camp since we talked to Cat or just in general that's caught your eye or your attention?
Um, nothing major, man. I mean, everybody just need to take kind of training camp for what it is this year. Like you got to imagine, like, what's the kid? He was getting torched in 101 cornerback. I think it's Keith Washington, number 38.
Okay.
He was getting torched on the videos. And he was like, "Oh man, this dude trash." And I talked to Nick, and he's been having some good practices the last couple of weeks. Like, so you got to understand, those first couple of days, like those are these guys' first days in the NFL, like playing against Mike Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the first days is like.
Could you imagine? Like these are also professional athletes. I couldn't imagine what it would look like if me or you.
It'll be comedy. So, so it's like these are the OTAs, these are the mini camps, and it's all being condensed into one couple of weeks. So I just try to say, like, just don't overreact to anything. I know they put out the little videos every day, and I watch them, I retweet them and all that, but I wouldn't take much from them, period. You know what I'm saying? If you see something good, but it's like this season is just different, man.
You got to remember the context.
Yeah, the context.
Like that's what's getting lost. Although one of the most best videos that you sent me yourself was Alvin going against Demario. There's nothing I love better in football than great going against great. Like, to me, like, that's football porn. And so you sent me that, and I was like, whoo.
I said, whoo. And it told me because it tells you so much. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like, I just said don't read much into it, but I read everything into that one. I was like, it told me everything I needed to know that Kamara is healthy. Like, he's good.
He's good. He's back.
Package him up. Just put him away right now.
And it tells you, like Demario is so dang good, bro. Like, I know he was beat, but he's so, like,
he was moving.
It's unreal. There's the play we were playing against the Bucks. I think the game was at the Dome. AK goes out, and he's lined up against Levante David, and he wins down the field on a deep pass when he was split out wide. And after the play, Levante just like gave him like a pat on the butt, like you good, bruh. Like,
yeah, you good.
I was there. Like that's the stuff about football that I love. Like, great athletes going against great athletes, dogs being dogs,
just dogs,
and just going after each other. Like, that's, and I know that I get it. Like, we and you had this kind of conversation earlier. Part of me, if not that I would think it would happen, because again, the NFL is very different from the NBA. But like, if a season didn't happen because of everything that's going on, I wouldn't even care. But on the flip side, like, I agree with you what you said. Like, man, like, I know that sports, because I saw this on Twitter. Like, I know that sports is not, like, it shouldn't be our escape or what have you. But fuck, do we need something right now? God,
we need something.
Damn, like,
seriously, man. Like I need it. I just need something I could hold on to when I come home and just watch a little football. I need that, man. Like, I need just some kind of sense of normalcy, just to break away. It's like, back to you was talking about Lovecraft Country, and like, man, I always almost turned it off on the first episode, because a lot of movies today, and there's nothing wrong with it, but they have to introduce this sort of racism. And, like, there's like a part where, they were in the diner, or there's a part where the guy was like making the monkey sounds while my dude was eating a banana. And I was just like, oh, I just don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I just don't feel like I open Twitter in the morning and I see a black man getting shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to escape that when I watch TV.
Yes.
I just want a little small break from it, and then I get back to reality afterwards. But I said, I'm gonna stick with it because I could tell it's gonna be a good show. But it's just one of those things, man. Like, Like, man, I need a break.
Something.
I need a mental break from 2020 because it's kicking my ass. And I'm on the outskirts. I'm still personally, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, got my wife, I work, make money. You know, lights on, got food. Like, I can't complain personally. I can't complain. But I guess just being inundated with what's going on in the world, really does just, it just makes you uncomfortable and it makes you, makes you uncertain about the future.
I mean, it does. It does 100%. And that's why, and it's funny too, because if you think about it, the Saint, like if you just not so much the Saints, but I get football in general. But imagine the Saints being someone's escape with their notoriously like, oh, I need an escape for 2020, and you watching these niggas like you were telling me you were watching the Saints Houston Texas game.
Like, why? Why are you doing it?
That's your escape?
And it really was an escape, man. Like, I was watching a route. Ted Ginn ran a route, and he looked like he ran it wrong because Drew Brees came to check him afterwards. And I don't know, it literally was an escape. I was just interested. I was like, oh,
right. I'm just saying, like in general, like someone just watching a Saints game and that being their escape. I'm like, ooh,
man, that's a tough escape. Especially knowing how. I ain't gonna say that.
Anyway, but we wanted to get on, and I mean, there's so much going on. We wanted to have a space to talk, and we may do other episodes later with people on talking about stuff that isn't football related, because it's not always about football, and it's not about football right now. Obviously, we hit on the Saints towards the end of the pod, but
and that's the beauty of the podcast. It's not like radio where you got to listen to what's. Hey, if you don't want to listen, hit pause, stop.
Don't listen.
Don't listen.
Wait till the next
episode.
Right.
Skip episode, fast forward, whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
You can fast forward so we can at least get like the listen, quote unquote, but like you don't have to actually listen. Exactly. So the plan regarding the fantasy football league is by the end. Oh, all right. You know what? By the end of Sunday, so between now and Sunday, it will be created. I'm debating if we want to do 12. So there, obviously, us two are going to be in the league. So I'm debating if we're going to do a 12-person league or a 14-person league. I'm not going to do like a 2-league thing unless people just start going crazy with contribution on Patreon and getting in the league. Then that's a completely different thing. But as of right now, I'm thinking about it being a 14-person league. People who are already current Patreon subscribers, donators, automatically get in the league, and then we still have to figure out what the plan is for people who don't donate to get in the league. But that is where the fantasy football stuff lies. It will be done by this Sunday. So there.
Yes. Patreon.com. Search hashtag Saints Twitter podcast, and become a Patreon. Whatever you want to put up, $2-3, whatever. Just join up. Trust me, all the money is going towards trying to improve the production of this podcast because we plan on making it just kind of a special little place for Saints Twitter. And the numbers have been looking good. Downloads have been looking good. Please go subscribe, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Google Play. We're still not on Spotify yet, but it's going to happen.
Speaking of nigga, what are you doing?
Man, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. But we will be on there. So, just hold tight. You can listen to it. It's not like you can't listen to the podcast. It's, it's coming. But yeah, patreon.com, search for hashtag Saints Twitter pod, and we'll be appreciative if you join the Patreon. You can join the fantasy football, plan on doing some like video chats with fans, and we're gonna do some goodies. Yeah, we're gonna do all that.
I I just said that because I hate how I look on camera. And before we get out of here, anyone who's in Southeast Louisiana, Lafayette area, all that, please be safe.
Please.
With Hurricane Laura.
Southwest Louisiana.
Sorry, Southwest.
All good.
It looks to be strong, so please take care of yourselves. Like Ryan tweeted earlier, I've never been through a hurricane, but like Ryan tweeted earlier, like all your important shit, if you're listening, if you haven't evacuated yet, like evacuate, take all your important shit, birth certificate, pictures, all that stuff, and just be safe.
Just be safe, man.
With that,
hold it down.
With that depressing message at the end, we're gonna get out of here. To all the people who do listen to us, and shout out to my guy Julio. He texted me. I had we met at a Saints tailgate before a Rams game 3 years ago, and Julio's cool as shit. Every episode he listens to, he'll text me, hit me up, and give me his thoughts, what he thinks about the episode, and he always has great things to say about us. So, all of our listeners who like what we do, we appreciate it, and thank you guys for your support. We truly appreciate it. With that, we're out. We'll be back next time. Peace.
Picture this: you're not just fixing cars; you're living your passion every day. At Cox, you'll work on a diverse range of automobiles. Surrounded by a team of friendly, like-minded individuals, you'll enjoy great pay and benefits. Ready to make this a reality? At Cox, we're recruiting auto and diesel techs to join our Mannheim and Fleet Services teams. Learn, grow, and fine-tune your career as a technician at Cox. Find out more at cox.career/autotech.
There was a time when sunlight turned the earth into a gallery, when elegant estates welcomed works of art that drew us closer and closer together. It was a captivating time. It was spring, this spring at Biltmore. Plan your visit or overnight stay so you can enjoy the marvelous works of Chihuly while every corner of Biltmore blooms. Reserve now to get spring savings at Biltmore.com.